Hi and welcome to the Ruby and Pearls knitting channel. My name is Leah and I'm coming to you today with episode 23 of my knitting podcast. If you are a new viewer, thank you so much for stopping by, and if you're returning, thank you so much for being here again. I have 3 finished objects to share with you today, as well as a giveaway winner and a new giveaway, can you believe it? And 1 work in progress and maybe some plans at the end. This is going to be a relatively short episode. But yes, I really hope you will enjoy this. I will leave all the information you need down below, including my Ravelry and Instagram handles, and I would love it if you reached out if you fancied having a chat. I will also leave a little bit of educational content at the end about washing units in the washing machine, so if that is of interest to you, then please stay tuned for that at the end. Let's jump right into finished objects, shall we? I'm wearing 2 of them. This is the Mars shirt jacket. I will put pictures in it as well. I haven't taken them yet, but right after filming this, I'm hoping to get my tripod out and take some photos outside. It has currently stopped raining, which is a bit of a miracle because it has not stopped raining for a very long time here in the UK. It's been very wet and very miserable, and I need to get that in there because I am a UK-based podcaster. This is the Mars shirt jacket by Ozetta, which is a pattern that's been around for a very long time, quite a few years. And when this first came out, I knew I wanted to knit this, and I actually purchased the original yarn, which is Manchalope, which is a unspun yarn. I purchased that yarn and I really wanted to make it in that yarn, but I just couldn't get on with an unspun yarn. The way I tensioned my yarn was just impossible to do with unspun yarn. I kept tearing the yarn in half, and it was just, it was a mess. I really didn't enjoy this. So I put the pattern aside. I didn't knit it again until I decided that I would make it for my mum. And the yarns I used are a combination of a cone yarn that I purchased at Wonderwool Wales. It is a Shetland type yarn, whatever that means. I think it means it is spun in a way that Shetland wool is normally processed, but it's not necessarily 100% Shetland wool. But it was a very, very fine 4-ply or fingering weight, probably more like a 3-ply to be honest. So I held 2 strands of that together, and along with that I held 1 strand of Wendy Merino 4-ply, which is a sort of heavy fingering weight superwash merino yarn in also a purple shade, and it gave this really beautiful, that's actually pretty true to colour, really beautiful mild effect. And I think the cone yarn made this really lightweight but warm, and then having a superwash yarn with it has actually allowed to give it a bit more drape. And I absolutely love how this has turned out. I will stand up briefly and show you. So as you can see then, there's that really cute hem that sort of curves around like a shirt does. This is so wearable. I've just thrown this on, literally it's come off the blocking mats this morning. I've just chucked it on and thought, wow, I need one of these for myself. But this one's for my mum because she loves purple, and I bought this yarn with her in mind, and I'm not really a purple person. So yeah, it's got some beautiful buttons on here, this really nice high collar. I really like how this looks. I just put it on and instantly thought, oh, this is nice. I don't think I would modify very much. The one thing I would do, I did crop this a little bit because, to be completely honest, I was running out of steam. That is the main reason. The other reason is my mum is, I would say, maybe 3 inches shorter than me, but our leg length is actually the same. So I think all the extra length I have is in my torso. So this will actually be fine for her. The one kind of error that I made is I placed the pockets exactly as instructed by Hayley Smedley, and because I cropped it, these pockets are quite high up, so they're not very functional. But if you I'm doing this, which is not attractive at all, but it took me ages to seam these on, and I don't really fancy taking them off again. So I think I'm going to leave them there. I don't foresee my mum walking around with her hands in her pockets anyway. These will be better sort of just all, I don't know, anything small and lightweight that she wants to pop in there. So yeah, they're not necessarily functional pockets in the sense of putting your hands in there, but I still think they are fine. And this, yeah, I'm really, really pleased with how this turned out. I'm also really, really pleased because this means my gift knitting is done. I am finished. I've got one more gift knit to share with you in a moment that I've also finished, and I'm going to take this off now because I'm getting warm. So let's pop this to one side, but I don't think that will be the last Miles shirt jacket that you will see on this channel, because I really would like to have one myself. My next finished object is the Sami Slipover by the lovely Kat from Katandleni, and I have tested it for Kat several times this year, and I had a really good experience testing for her, and I was very privileged to actually receive the yarn for this slipover for free from Knit and Note. So I'll pop ad gifted on screen here. Thank you so much, Knit and Note, for sending me this yarn for free. It was an absolute joy to knit with. I used their Highland wool, which is a DK weight yarn, held together with their cashmere merino, cashmere mohair, which is a cashmere, mohair and silk blend. It's absolutely beautiful, and it was a joy to knit with, and it's a very fine mohair. So Kat actually did a version just with the Highland wool, and she did a version with the mohair, and the gauge is the same. And the way this is constructed is you start off by doing this folded over collar, after which you then do this really cute little tuck detail, and then you start shaping the saddle shoulders with increases and short rows. Eventually you work it in the round for a little bit, and then you split and work it flat, and then you join at the underarm again and work the rest of the body again. I will pop some pictures in of me wearing this, where you can see it a little bit better. When you're finished with the body, or in my case, much sooner because I like to add these finishings earlier, you add this band, and it actually features this really nice V-neck kind of detail at the underarm, which I think is really cool as well. So it has quite a few really neat details. So you got this detail here, then you got the detail at the underarm. It was really engaging knit, really fun. And yes, as I say, really privileged to receive this yarn for free for testing. If you want to know more about sponsored test knits, please head to my last episode. I explain more about that at the end there. I have quite a lot of yarn left over, so I will be probably making a hat out of this because it is lovely and soft. I can feel it on my neck, but as I have mentioned before, I haven't worn mohair for a very long time, and I think I've desensitized myself a little bit. I think the only thing that this now needs is a little bit of elastic. Because of the way it's constructed, it kind of wants to pull out like that, and therefore also ride up at the front neck. So with a bit of elastic, I think this neckline will sit even nicer. But I worked this exactly to pattern. It is quite cropped. I'm going to get up quickly and show you. As you can see, there's my jeans line. But I wanted to see how it looks exactly how Kat prescribed it in the pattern. And yeah, I am really pleased with how this has turned out. So this is my second finished object. My third finished object is a Sophie scarf. Yes, this is my first Sophie scarf, which is quite funny. I have knit the Simple Thing scarf before, which is a free pattern that's essentially like a Sophie scarf, but I have finally completed a Sophie scarf, and this is a gift. This is Cardiff Cashmere in the shade Amour. I will try and pop it on so that you can see how I would wear it. And this is, in the Sophie scarf, you have two different lengths. This is somewhere in between. I basically tried to use up every single bit of yarn I had, and I think I had like 2 meters left at the end, so I was really pleased with that. And it is oh so soft and really lovely, and this is a Secret Santa gift. So I have completed this, and I think I will roll it up in its little croissant shape and maybe add a little candle on the side or something like that. Sorry if I'm being distracted, but Ruby is just sitting there staring at me. So I also purchased a second ball of Cardiff Cashmere in order to make myself one of these little scarves, so that is probably coming at some point as well. Right, that is all my finished objects. Let's talk about my one and only current whip. I do in fact still have the Moby sweater and the Rosy sweater on my needles. The issue with those two projects is, and if you've been here for a while you will know, I'm knitting those both in Yarnsmith's Pebble Haze, and I've had some inconsistency issues from ball to ball with them that ended up in striping within a garment. And I am now going for much paler colours in that yarn in the hopes that that won't happen anymore. But I have had a lovely viewer comment and saying that this happened to them in the pale yellow. So I just have no motivation to knit on either of those because I'm too worried that they might show up once I've knit a lot of it, and I might not notice in the moment. So I think those should be projects I should probably work on outdoors in broad daylight, probably in the summer, to be honest, because then I can actually see immediately whether there's a change in consistency of the yarn once I've changed balls. Because, you know, indoors this time of year, everything's gloomy, everything's dark. It's really hard to see when there are some issues. So I have a strong feeling that I will be shelving both of those projects, and I feel quite bad because I've actually got a group chat for the Moby sweater. So yeah, I haven't fully decided yet, but that is probably what's going to happen. My current only work in progress that I am consistently working on and getting in a tangle is my piping hot sweater, which is looking so, so good. Look at that. I finished the yoke and started on the sleeve. That is a way I like to knit my sweaters. So I like to finish all the constructing parts, all the shaping on a yoke. Once I've joined in the round, I finish a ball, and then I like to switch to a sleeve just to break things up a bit. After doing the sleeve, I might do one ball on the body, then move on to the second sleeve, etc. But yeah, this is my piping hot sweater by Lilykate France of Lilykate Makes. If you've been here before, you will know that I test knit this sweater. I'll pop a picture in of my test knitted version. And I recently filmed a pattern roundup with other sweaters inspired by this pattern that are sort of stockinette with a little bit of something extra, which is exactly what this is. And there's actually quite a lot extra. There's a lot of shaping in this garment. There's a lot of interesting construction. You start off by knitting these saddles, which are very narrow. Then you do some back shaping, you do some front shaping, you pick up stitches. The neckband is really interesting the way it is constructed. For the upper sleeve, there is a lot of short rows in this sleeve cap up to about this point here. You do lots and lots of short rows for some really nice fit. And yeah, I cannot recommend this pattern enough, to be honest with you. I am knitting mine in Serdar Haworth Tweed in the shade Millstone Grey. And for the contrast colour, which always blows out, I'm not even going to bother getting the ball because it's going to make it worse. I am using Yarn Art Flowers in this corally pink shade, which looks more orange on screen, but I promise you it is more pink than orange. But obviously it has got an orange element to it because it is a coral colour. And I am thoroughly enjoying working on this. It is a really engaging knit whilst not being complicated once you've sort of done all the shaping details. And yeah, I can highly recommend this pattern. I am knitting size 2 on 4mm needles, and I'm sizing down because that's what Lily recommends, and I'm using a lightweight yarn because that's what Lily recommends. And those two things I didn't do in the test knit, and they did lead to a rather large sweater. So those are two tips that I would definitely recommend to you. I will very briefly share with you my stitch stopper on this project because you need to see this. Isn't that just the cutest little thing? So these are stitch stoppers that look just like my lovely little Ruby, and they are from a lovely Etsy shop called the Cozy Crab, and Rhiannon is actually local to me, and I do regularly order things from her or try to see her at yarn shows. And she's got some gorgeous stitch markers and stitch stoppers, and she does little subscription boxes and things like that. So I highly recommend you check her out. I'll put her handle on screen and I will link her down below as well. For full transparency, she actually sent this singular stopper to me for free because she just had one left over that didn't make a pair. So she sent me that one for free, but I have ordered another pair because I can't get enough of them. So yeah, that is my main whip. So let's talk about what I'm going to knit in the near future. And I won't go into too much detail because I am actually planning to film a winter knitting plans video for you very, very soon. I'm just trying to sort of finalise exactly what I would like to make and exactly how I would like to make that video. But I have lots and lots of ideas. And after filming my latest pattern roundup and sharing the Calm Down cardigan from Lilykate Makes again, I think that is probably my next cast on. And I will just briefly grab the yarn and show you what I've purchased for it. This, I think, is the yarn that I'm planning to use, and it is Rowan Fine Tweed Haze, which is a alpaca, wool, polyamide, cotton and polyester blend, but mostly alpaca and wool. And essentially from a distance, it reads grey. And then when you look up close, I don't know if you can see that, it has flecks of orange and pink. The pink isn't really showing very well. It's just a really interesting yarn. And I'm really excited to knit with this. And again, it's a really lightweight yarn. So this is 50 grams and I think it's got 200 and something meters on it. So a very lightweight yarn, which is excellent for patterns by Lily because of the way she constructs a lot of patterns with this sort of modified drop shoulder. If you use a yarn that is very heavy and very drapey, it kind of drags that down and then the beautiful tailoring gets a little bit missed. So I'm very excited to knit with this. I purchased this the other day, it was a big treat. And yeah, I can't wait to cast this on. So I think that's going to be my next project, but you will have to stay tuned for my winter knitting plans to see. Okay, I think that is everything I have to share with you in terms of regular content. Now let's talk about the giveaway and the new giveaway. So I have just, prior to filming, used a random comment picker to choose the giveaway winner for last giveaway from the last episode, and I'll try and I think I can just about reach it. So I was giving away this lovely skein of hand-dyed yarn that I dyed myself, as well as some extra goodies that I now need to go and sort of figure out because the winner is in fact somebody based in the UK. I will blend in the picture of the person who is winning this skein of yarn and some extra bits and pieces. So if this is you, please reach out to me on either Instagram or Ravelry. I will not be getting in touch with you. Please reach out to me and we can sort out this win for you. Now, in terms of giveaway, I would like to do a second giveaway because I have actually reached 2,000 subscribers since the last episode. I don't know what's happening. I'm really, really happy. Thank you so, so much for all your lovely support and all your lovely comments. And because I'm giving away the physical prize, so if you weren't here last time, I basically said that if you're in the UK, you'll get a physical prize. If you're abroad, you'll get 2 patterns of your choice. And because the winner is in the UK and the physical prize is going to be going to them, I would like to still do 2 patterns of your choice. So please leave me a comment down below if you would like to win 2 patterns on Ravelry of your choice, and let me know which work in progress most excites you at the moment. Whichever one you're working on that you're most excited about at the moment, because I'd like to have some more new inspiration. So leave me a comment below, just let me know which project most excites you, and I will pick a random winner by next episode, which again can happen at any point. I don't have a proper schedule, it depends on how productive I've been. And I will again pick it randomly and you will win 2 patterns of your choice on Ravelry. So the important thing is you have to be active on Ravelry so I can send you those patterns, and you have to be active either on Ravelry or on Instagram to be able to get in touch with me. So that is the giveaway for today's video. If you are leaving me here, then thank you so, so much for watching. But if you enjoy a little bit of educational content, then I would like to share with you how I wash my knits today. So we're going to talk about washing your hand knits in the washing machine. And I need to give you a little bit of a background on my sort of knitting story, if you will. I first started knitting again. So I've always been knitting, you know, since I was a young child. But I first started knitting sort of more consistently again, maybe 6 or 7 years ago. And at the time, I mostly knit with wool. And then a few years ago, I had a bit of a moth scare and 2 new puppies, and it just made more sense for me to knit with more man-made fibres. So I knit a lot with cotton acrylic blends, sometimes even 100% acrylic. And obviously these things can go in the washing machine, and I started washing most of my knits in the washing machine. And now I am slowly creeping back into 100% wool. So this is 100% non-superwash wool held with a strand of mohair, and I wash this in the washing machine. And you might be a little bit shocked and a little bit scared, so I just want to explain how I do that. And the very important disclaimer I have to put out up front is, please do your own research and please get to know your own washing machine. I don't want to hold any responsibility for things going wrong. So the way I do my washing in the washing machine is there's two things I do. Number one, use a hand wash cycle. Even better if your machine has a wool wash cycle, that's even better. But my machine doesn't have one, so I use the hand wash cycle. And I turn that cycle down to 20 degrees. So mine's actually set to 40, which seems very warm for hand washing. So hand wash on 20 is what I use. The second important thing is to use a detergent specifically designed for wool. So I've got the wool and silk one from Ecover, I think. And that one is designed for delicate fabrics, especially wool. And if I understand things correctly, normal detergent is too soapy and encourages felting too much. So I would highly recommend get a good detergent that's made for wool and use a cycle that's either wool or hand wash at a low temperature. And then what I would do, and what I did initially, is I would wash some of my garments that can go in the washing machine anyway. So things like cotton acrylic blends, summer sheet shirts, things that I made that actually says, you know, machine wash. I'll pop them in there. And the first thing I did was I picked a sweater that I wasn't particularly attached to. And I put that in at the same time and it came out fine. The next thing I did is I would put swatches in. So in a fabric that I was particularly scared of whether it would get felted, so this for example, I actually put the swatch in while I was knitting this with another load that I was just randomly doing, and the swatch came out perfectly fine. So I sort of checked it, measured it before, measured it after. Actually I didn't measure it before, but I would recommend that you measure it before, measure it after, and make sure that it hasn't shrunk. Obviously you can pull on it a little bit, and that way you will find out which items fare well in the washing machine. So that is what I do, and that is another reason why I've actually decided to swatch more often again. Not necessarily just to check my gauge, because I like to check my gauge as I go, but because I can use that as a test run in the washing machine. And it just makes sense for me to wash my knitted garments in the washing machine. They come out much drier than any hand washing in my bathtub that I can do. I don't end up with 3 or 4 really soggy towels that I have stomped on that then have to be washed or just hung, and then, you know, there's more moisture in the house. And it's easy and it's convenient. So if it works for you, then that's great. I'm just here to let you know what I do, but please check your machine and also be aware that machines can have a little wobble every now and then. So the previous place that I lived at, I remember I used to use a very short sort of 14-minute cycle. That was just a regular cycle for quite a few hand knits, and it worked out really well. It sort of fluffed them up and blocked them nicely. And then at one point I put a load in. I think I just finished this item and put it into wash and block basically. And the washing machine decided that 14 minutes had to now become 45 minutes. And it wouldn't stop. The timer had some kind of issue, and suddenly, yeah, it all went wrong. So get to know your machine, get to know what works for you. And obviously if you're too scared to do this, keep on hand washing by hand in your sink or in your bathtub. But this works for me, and I just wanted to share with you what works for me. So right now, as you can see, the sun is slowly creeping in. So I think it is time for me to go and take my lovely dogs for a walk. If I do, I will put a bit of footage at the end now. So thank you so much for being here today, for joining me. Let me know what you're currently working on and if it excites you as your current work in progress, because then you're eligible for next episode's giveaway. Thank you so much for watching, and please stay tuned for my winter knitting plans. I have a lot of videos planned for the near future, so very excited to be here, and I'm very excited that you are enjoying my content. Thank you